So, Bill, let's talk about the stimulus package. What'd you think of the stimulus package?
So it's a 3-month fix. If I were a senator, I would vote for it. I understand that it was loaded up with a lot of garbage that doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic. The bill is, I don't think it's overall harmful to the nation because you needed it this time, particularly because it did stabilize the stock market for a few days. But it's a 3-month fix, and now we're $25 trillion in debt. So, but you got to get through this before you can deal with the debt.
Looks like Thomas Massie may have just committed political suicide. He was standing up in Congress and saying, this is unconstitutional we don't have a quorum here, and you can't just pass bills without a vote. And he wanted a vote, and, he didn't get one. And now, how do you think he's going to fare?
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether he fares well or not. In the end, and I cut through all the BS, the House will pass the bill, and Trump will sign it. And then 3 months hence, we're going to be looking at another bailout, unless they come up with a vaccine. That's the whole key here, is if the medical community can come up with medicine or a vaccine to knock this thing out, vis-a-vis Ebola. I think they're going to be able to, and that, Beck, will nail socialism for the next 10 years dead in this country. Because who was the target of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren? The big drug companies. Well, who's going to save our butts? The big drug companies.
Drug companies, yeah.
And, if you think that the federal government can save you in the medical area, well, let's see if the federal government gets the vaccine. They won't. It'll come out of the private sector.
So, it's interesting because Fauci has just come out and said if we would have had nationalized medicine, we'd be really screwed.
Look at the stats. Look at the stats in Italy and Spain. The deaths per 1 million. They're 7 times as high as the United States. The United States has the lowest deaths per million population of any country that's been impacted.
And it looks like Germany.
That's the hard stats.
And if you look at Germany, whose market I think may even be more free than ours because their CDC, if you will, doesn't have dictatorial powers. They just advise and say, look, we need testing that gives us these kinds of results, and then it has to go to the free market. And their testing is off the charts. They are testing everybody in Germany, and that is helping them, and that's because of the free market that's mandated because of National Socialism in the 1930s.
Well, I don't believe the German stats, number one, that they're putting out. I don't believe it. But I have it right in front of me. Deaths in Germany from corona, 3.4 per million. All right? In the United States, it's 4 per million. In Italy, it's 136 per million. That's socialized medicine. Spain, 104. Great Britain, double ours. So I was always a guy who believed the government should oversee the medical industry, but not impose government mandates like Bernie Sanders wants and all that. And I think this is one of the things that'll come out of the COVID thing, is that socialism is dead. The other thing is the Second Amendment will never again be challenged, at least in our lifetime, because people know the government can't protect you.
Right now, look at what's happening. Look what's happening to the Second Amendment, though, right now. You have states like California, L.A., the sheriffs there shut down all gun stores. They are doing everything they can to shut down
but the people are going to rebel.
Second Amendment.
Don't you believe? I think Virginia That's the one to keep your eye on in November. I think they're going to throw out all these people. Now, I don't know about California. That's pretty crazy. But Virginia, you keep your eye on that state in November.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com is joining us now. Bill, let me take you to the, I think, must-watch TV of the day. It's at 5 o'clock, which is, somebody else was very successful at that time. But Donald Trump, I think, is hitting this out of the park with these nightly briefings at 5 o'clock every night. And what's interesting to me is the numbers are so huge, they have to be, because the media doesn't want to cover them anymore. They're saying this is just a campaign rally. We don't think we should cut away from these. They're fantastic television, full of information, and really shows how wrong the media is. Because you watch that, and then you watch them report, it's not the same thing.
Well, a NPR station in Seattle bailed, and they're not going to cover them anymore. I understand there's a big debate in the corporations that run CNN and MSNBC about carrying them. I think you're right that this helps Donald Trump and builds up his credibility. You can see that in the polling. 60% feel he's doing a good job handling the virus.
Yep.
And as I said, if he gets it under control by summer, I can't see him losing at all, no matter whether it's Biden or Cuomo, because Cuomo, by the way, is, setting himself up as the virus candidate.
Right.
So you got to assume that the television media that despises Trump, that makes all kinds of money hating him, may bail out. They might do it. And they'll obviously not be doing it for any other reason than to try to hurt the president.
Yeah, it's amazing to me because it's not just him. You have to get past his wonderful, marvelous, it's incredible. You got to get past some of the superlatives he throws in all the time. But if you listen to the information and you listen to the way he's handling this, and then you listen to the experts, he's not really taking things on. He'll just be like, Bill, why don't you answer that? He's doing an exceptional job in my point of view. And when you're watching it, what part of that isn't essential information that you should have every single day? What part of that?
Well, the viewer should have the option of watching it or not.
Yes.
That's what news is. So this is news. Here's the president. He's talking about the virus. That's news. So you're going to censor the news? Sure they would. They'd do it in a heartbeat if they felt they could get away with it. And they may do it. I'm not as bullish on the president as you are. I think he should use more precise language. We don't need to hear they're really great people 50 times.
Right, I agree.
Okay, but in the very beginning of this, I had a conversation. I'm not going to tell you with whom, but it was at the highest level, and I said, "This is what you got to do." Now, I'm not taking credit for it. I'm sure his advisors are telling him the same thing. But by being a steady, that's the key word, influence on the nation, you can take it or leave it if you're an American. You don't have to watch it. You can watch American Bandstand. Is that still on? I don't think so, but that's what I used to watch at 5 o'clock.
So, Bill,
anyway.
What's interesting, I was watching, because I think Mike Pence is doing a fantastic job. But if you watch it every night, Mike Pence is very much cut from the cloth of a politician, a regular politician.
He's a bureaucrat.
He's been very... Yeah, he's a bureaucrat. He's doing a great job. He's very, very positive, but you hear the same things from him every day. He keeps giving the same positive message the same way every day. Where what I think makes Donald Trump different is he's not prepared like that. He doesn't do that stuff. And so it's just much more of a raw kind of...
Yeah,
look, I'm just hanging.
All right.
Yeah, I'm hanging out with you. Let me just tell you, got all these experts over here. I don't know. Susan, come here. You talk about that. The more he does that, the more effective I think he becomes. Because for the first time, I'm seeing what it must be like to work for him when he's building a very complex system. You know, when he's building some golf course, hotels, casinos, and he's in a boardroom meeting, I'm seeing him for the first time as a guy who assembles a rock-solid team and then just shoots from the hip and respects what the people that he's assembled are saying. You don't often see Donald Trump in a light where he's really respecting the people. You just think he doesn't listen to anybody, which is not true. And you're seeing that he's listening to these people and he respects them and they respect him. I think that's important.
He likes Burks. He likes that doctor. Pence always reminds me of the Brill cream guy. A little dab will do you. The hair never moves. I love the hair. And he looks the part. And he ran Indiana. It's exactly what he's doing now. Very disciplined guy. He's not going to say anything that gets him in trouble. And then Trump is the exact opposite. He's going to come out, as you said. He's going to ruminate. He's going to, maybe we'll do this, but maybe we won't. And people are actually following and listening to what he says. Whereas if you had Pence
and I think I think they understand him, though, as well. I think the people, if they're watching, understand what he's saying. And it's amazing. The people that are paid to watch him, they don't listen to him. Because when he's talking about, hey, April, this is clearly what he would like to do. And he's preparing people for...
It's all in context of, I'm going to try to lift the spirits of the nation. But, Beck, and we've discussed this on your fine radio program, these correspondents that are sent out to cover Donald Trump each day are told what to do. They're told, here's the story of the day, and this is what you need to find out. So you're absolutely right. They're not listening to what he's saying. They're trying to get in their question to diminish him. Because that's what they've been ordered to do.
Right.
So it's not like they're reporters trying to get the truth and listening to what is unfolding before them. They've got their little list. Get them here, get them there, question this, question that.
Do you believe, Bill, for the first time, I have seen the news people in even a worse light than I have before? I'm seeing now in a national emergency, something that we're facing bigger than 9/11, and we're in a national emergency, and they are.
It's so bad.
It's almost as if they they would rather see the country burn down to the ground than have this guy right in any way, shape, or form.
Well, certainly that is true for the New York Times, the Washington Post, AT&T, that's CNN, and Comcast, that's NBC. That is absolutely true. But even worse is the speculation. This might happen. It could happen. We need 87,000 ventilators. No, we need 64,000. We need them. Where were they? Why don't we have enough masks? Did the guy eat a bat in Wuhan? I don't know, but he may have. But no, it could have been made.
And yet they won't. And yet they won't. They won't even give the facts that the reason why we didn't have ventilators on hand is because Barack Obama used them in the last emergency and then failed to replace them, which he was supposed to do. So we were down like 150,000 ventilators because he put them in use and then never replaced them after the last
flu
virus square.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But why would you give perspective to a news story? Why would you do that? Number
why
one,
would you do that?
Yeah, the reporters don't even know that. That's how, limited their frame of references. And number two, that goes against the order du jour, the order of the day. Get them on April. Get them on Easter. Get them on this. Get them on ventilators. Get them on arguing with Cuomo. Get them. And that's what it's all about.
So let me ask you this, because we got to run. You just brought up Cuomo setting himself up as the virus candidate.
Yes.
I think Joe Biden, man, he's looking worse than he's ever looked, but he's only getting 2,000 people watching him on his little podcast thing anyway. It's really sad.
Yeah, he ought to go down and look at your podcast and then come on up and look at mine because we have the most successful ones. But poor Joe. That's all I can say is poor Joe. I want him on a respirator just so he can't talk.
Right. So is there do you think there's a chance that Cuomo comes in and he tries to make the case and is at all successful of hijacking the convention? Because I think that's what they're hoping.
Yeah, but I think Biden may get the 1,911 delegates he needs because Bernie Sanders is blown up completely. So on June 2nd, that's the big primary that's going to put him over the top. If he gets the delegates, then Andrew's got to wait 4 years. But Andrew wants it. There's no doubt about it.